A tectonic shift is coming? What the hell does that mean? We're going to find out.
I ain't gonna give in now, I just gotta live this now. I be gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the will. Cause I am just up on the journey, you just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising warriors all over the world. I'm here to present light, love, and positivity to you. A tectonic shift is coming. Those are the words being used. Now, before we get into this, remember, I'm just sharing information, facts, figures, numbers, logic, words said by some of the most powerful people in the world who have most of the money to control the information and control the people. This is just information. I want to remind you, back in 2020, when our lives got flipped upside down with the beer virus, what beer, right? This way, we look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. We made it, we're fine. So this is not about fear. This is about preparation and understanding this is the greatest time in human history. If you ever wanted to make a shift in your family's timeline and build generational wealth, this is the time. And remember, this is nothing new under the sun. This has happened in history over and over and over again. This is biblical, it's spiritual, it's earthbound, it's happening in history over and over again. Everybody gets too greedy. They get too far in the left hemisphere of the brain. Mother Earth comes and says, whoop, wipes us out, and we start all over again. Whether that's metaphysical, whether that's allegory, whether that's real, but it happens in life. Humans, to include the earth, to include everything, goes in a cycle. And we're in the down part of the cycle. But when you're in the down part of the cycle, everybody runs this way. If you go this way, you're probably going to do pretty damn well. Well, let's dive into the facts, figures, numbers, logic. All right. So this was sent to me by a dear friend of mine. And this tweet was from Marty Bent. It's at Marty Bent. Now, before I show you this or talk about this, I want to make very clear I did the best I could to find where this actual statement came from. So I cannot verify whether this is true or accurate. I'm just going to read it. You can do your own research. I do not know where the statement came from. So I'm assuming it came from this assumption. Maybe it's in here. Maybe it came from the WEF, the World Economic Forum. But this statement was put up here with no reference to where it came from, unless I didn't look deep enough. Okay, so I couldn't find the actual statement, but we're going to start out with that. And then we're going to look at some facts, figures, numbers, logic of what's actually happening, which is true and factual, which we can find out. Okay, what we do know is there's a massive climate change narrative. Also, I'm going to do probably a TikTok today on what Putin said overnight, which is kind of scary. But there's something going on, right? What's happening is we're shifting in from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, a brand new economy. All of the world leaders have pumped too much money into their economies. They're all broke. Basically, they ruined the system, and they're going to switch it to a new monetary system. They're going to move it into a new casino, basically. So you have an opportunity to invest in the new technologies. We're evolving. We're changing, okay? So this tweet says they're beginning to admit that the C word, beer virus, lockdowns were a trial run for climate lockdowns. This statement says, 1, C word 19 was the test of social responsibility. Now, as I read this, I want you to just think of how different it is. You don't see anything about the C word anywhere anymore. It just disappeared around February. Just boom, disappeared. I went to California a year earlier and I couldn't even freaking fart without a mask on. I mean, it was crazy. And then a year later, on February, I show up to the same place and at midnight, they lift the mask laws. So it just disappeared. So these are things just to think about, okay? A huge number of unimaginable restrictions from public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples of globally maintained social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core individual social responsibilities, okay? So it said C word 19 was a test of social responsibilities. What it showed based on the statement is that they can easily and quickly get us to separate, to fight, to fall in line, to follow rules, and based on fear, they can move us pretty quickly and efficiently into this new system. Now, again, do your own research, but let's dive into the actual research, okay? So this tweet right here is from Will Hild, at Will Hild, okay? So it says, at BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls the charters of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, along with bringing together all governments to facilitate his ECG transition, which is climate change. We're going to listen to this actual, listen to what he says, but listen to what he says at the end. It'll shock you.
It is estimated to decarbonize the emerging world is $1 trillion a year. We're talking maybe $100 billion is moving into the emerging world. And so, but there's huge pools of capital, but that capital is just not equipped to be taking the first loss piece. And so if we're really serious about the notion of moving the world faster so our children and grandchildren can have that bright future, it has to be done in a way that we're bringing all the governments together. We have to relook at the responsibilities and the roles of the World Bank and the IMF, and they play important roles. They have important connections with all these countries. But we need to find a way to stop thinking about a project here and a project there. That's happening, but it's happening at such a slow rate, we are not going to get there. We're fooling ourselves to think that one project, which may be a significant project, is going to decarbonize the world at the time that we need. And so we have to have a holistic review of how we are going to get there. And obviously we have COP27 coming up in Egypt and COP28 in Abu Dhabi, and hopefully in these forums that we are going to bring this together and start really thinking about it. But it's up to the equity owners of these agencies, basically the G20, and they have to have the desire to doing this instead of just the words. They have to have the desire. If we can do that, the amount of capital that's going to go into the emerging world, into Africa, will be extraordinary. And I do believe there is that opportunity in the next few years to do this. And then we will have not just a tectonic shift in the developed world, but a tectonic shift in all of the world.
Woo! That's a big word. Tectonic, I actually had to look it up. It was so big for my vocabulary. Tectonic is massive. So what he's basically saying is all these assets are going to be flowing into climate change, carbon neutral. Look at your cryptocurrencies. Which ones are carbon neutral? ISO 20022, Algorand, XRP. We could go on and on and on. You are not going to stop this freight train. You can stand in front of it, but it's going to run you over. I'm letting you know. Okay, so that was the tweet. We saw that tweet right there. We're listening to tectonic shift. But here's what's actually happening. We know this. This is Larry Fink. He is the head of BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, okay? The biggest asset manager in the world that manages most of your 401ks, most of your pension funds. They're basically connected to pretty much everything. They run Aladdin, which is connected to Coinbase. Aladdin is designed for climate change narratives and climate change trading. And we know, I'm going to keep repeating the same thing so you can do your own research. Larry Fink became the board of trustees August 22nd of the World Economic Forum, and the board of trustees mission is to serve as the guardian of the World Economic Forum's mission and values. All over the World Economic Forum, here's how the food and energy crisis are connected. The next thing's going to be climate change. There's going to be a massive climate change narrative. There's going to be food shortages. Remember, stay calm. You're already healthy. You're already wealthy. You're divinely protected. We made it through the C word. We did. We're here. We made it. We're thriving. We're good to go. We're going to continue to grow. Okay. Don't get caught up in the bullshit. I'm just showing you. They're literally giving you the game plan. They're hiding it in plain sight, but nobody's watching this stuff. They're worried about Kim Kardashian. They're worried about Kanye West. They're worried about what's happening with these stupid fights they got going on between these celebrities and these boxing matches. That's what people are focused on. That's why people who are truth seekers get shut down. And that's why people who are shit talkers about nothing go viral. Think about that. Okay. So let's continue to move on here. So this is on September 20th, 2020. GOP lawmakers accused Biden admin of actively working against the gas and oil companies. The whole narrative is here, Warriors. They're giving you the game plan. They're moving us to zero carbon.
If we defeat the previous question, I will offer an amendment to the rule allowing for the immediate consideration of HR 8749 to repeal the methane emissions and waste reduction incentive program for petroleum and natural gas systems. I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment in the record along with the extraneous materials immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just last week, a constituent called my office with concerns about the president's energy policy. Joshua hauls gas for a living and said it is the best job he has ever had, but he worries that President Biden wants to take that away. He asked for my support and expressed his appreciation for anything that I can do to protect the industry. HR 8749 is a key piece of that puzzle. It supports American energy independence and all those who rely on it by protecting the Permian Basin and the largest secure supply of crude oil in the world. If the Biden administration gets their way on this issue, production will be slowed in that region, jobs will be lost, and gas prices will continue to rise. Madam Speaker, this presidential administration is actively working against the oil and gas industry. They have increased natural gas production taxes, prevented energy development in Alaska, and made permitting more difficult. They are prioritizing supplemental energy technologies like wind and solar, but the U.S. Energy Information Administration's annual energy outlook projected that petroleum and natural gas will be the most used fuels in the U.S. through 2050.
Okay, there we go. I mean, it's everywhere. The World Economic Forum, it's political, it's everywhere. Okay, and then Bill and Hillary Clinton, they resurfaced. They're back after 6 years hiatus. The Clinton Global Initiative returned to New York City this week, bringing together their leaders from the world's nonprofit, governments, and businesses, with a few celebrities sprinkled in for good measure. It has been an eventful few years since they last gathered in 2016. It's all about ECG and climate change. Go dive into these meetings. If you look back, did you notice the background here? Where is Larry Fink at? The Clinton Global Initiative. Biden, the first thing he did when he came into office, the first thing he did was bring us back into the Paris Agreement. Bill and Hillary Clinton been hiding out. They're back to move this global initiative forward of climate change. I mean, it's literally the writings on the wall. They're literally giving you investment advice. They're telling you, hey, here's where we're heading. Here's going to be the new richest people in the world. Gas and oil is going to get crushed. Industry is going to get crushed. Truckers are going to get crushed. Everybody who works with their hand and all this industrial stuff is going away. It's going to be gas, solar, wind, AI, technology, robots. Everything is going to start to be replaced by technology. And they're going to crush the middle class, move them down to the working poor, and they're going to give you a little morphine drip, which is called UBI, Universal Basic Income, and they're going to do it through FedNow services. You're going to have your FedNow wallet, you're going to custody your cryptocurrency at your local bank, and you will have a digital dollar. And they'll drip you the lazy drug of a stimulus check. If you just dive around the World Economic Forum, you can see it's all about sustainable development impact meetings. They're everywhere, warriors. It's packaged up in this beautiful thing about saving the world. And maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a climate change expert. All I know is I'm already free. I'm already healthy. I'm already wealthy. And every single person's being played. People are picking left. You're picking right. Every single one of you is being played until you are one of the richest people in the world, because I didn't create the monetary system. Whoever controls the money controls the information, controls the people. All the information you've been receiving since a young child in your education system is all false information created by man to move you into a certain way. 100%. You are encoded with the proper things. I believe the Bible is encoded in your DNA, and man or woman recreated things to build an agenda for themselves. Where was the devil cast to? Earth. We are all fallen angels trying to get our shit together. Anyways, so the Pope, speaking of religion, and the Pope Francis urges world leaders to act on extreme weather. He's telling us it's coming on July 21st. The Pope says leaders need to heed the Earth's cries. Mother Earth is crying, and stemming from climate change. I don't know where else, how many more signals we can get. Like, that man's like giving us the bat signals over and over again. So what are we doing? We're investing in ISO 20022 fundamental long-term cryptocurrencies. I have leveraged life insurance to secure my wealth. I'm holding my cryptocurrency long-term right now. I'm not worried about jumps. I'm not worried about dumps. If it dumps, I buy. If it pumps, I sell a little bit. I'm holding 50% of my portfolio long-term. You can get all the strategies inside the 3T Warrior Academy. We've been teaching this stuff for years, and it's just a group of people, not financial advisors, just helping each other. That's what we do. And we get our shit together financially, spiritually, workouts, exercise, nutrition. There's nothing like it in human history. We are light, love, and positivity. So that's what I got for you guys today. Strap your seatbelt on. It's about to get hairy. It's about to get scary. But who wins in the end? We do. Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.